So we all know that California is an expensive place to live, right? So let's face it, cost of living is one of the main reasons people choose to leave California for more affordable cities. For some time now, Austin, Texas has been one of the most popular cities for Californians to relocate. Austin is even thought of as the Silicon Valley of Texas, with many tech companies having offices in Austin. So just how much money can you save by living in Austin, Texas? Well, in this video, I'm going to compare the cost of housing, groceries, property taxes, income taxes, insurance, gas, and more between a Bay Area city, Pleasanton, California, and Austin, Texas. So let's get into it. So one of the main things I was curious about is how much groceries cost in Texas compared to the Bay Area. So to find out how much groceries compared between the Bay Area and Austin, Texas, I went online to a common grocery store, Safeway's website, here in the Bay Area, and I loaded up my online cart, to see what it cost for some pretty common items. And then I went to a grocery store that's common in Texas, the HEB or the HEB or the HEB. I don't actually know how to say it. I've been to those stores before, but I don't know what it's called. Anyway, however you say HEB, and I loaded up that virtual cart with very similar items, making sure I could get everything as close to the same size and brands when possible. So how did they compare? Let's take a look. So a loaf of bread in the Bay Area was $3.49 and compared to $3.21 in Texas. Frozen hash browns, the kind you put in the pan for breakfast, $3.99 in the Bay Area and only $2.66 in Texas. A bag of one of my favorite chips, Doritos, was $3.99 here in the Bay Area and it was only $3.09 in Texas. A stick of butter, I think it was a stick. Anyway, I did compare the size, it was $4.99 here in the Bay Area compared to just $3.65 in Texas. So a block of cheddar cheese, $3 in the Bay Area versus $2.58 in Texas. And eggs, like it was cage-free dozen eggs, $3.69 in the Bay Area versus $2.32 in Texas. A gallon of milk, $4.79 in the Bay Area versus $3.38 in Texas. Broccoli, just like a couple heads of broccoli, was $1.84 in the Bay Area and $2.02 in Texas. So there we go. Broccoli is cheaper in the Bay Area. There's one thing. Apples, Granny Smith apples, they're green ones. Those are my favorite. They're $1.25 each in the Bay Area and 94 cents in Texas each. The chicken breast, a pound of boneless, skinless breast is $6.49 in the Bay Area versus $5.03 in Texas. Tri-tip. So the tri-tip in Texas was a little bigger. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? Versus the Bay Area, but it was close. But in the Bay Area, it was $17.24 for that piece of tri-tip versus $14.81 in Texas. Bacon, $6.99 in the Bay Area, $4.11 in Texas. So for this particular order of groceries, it was 22.5% less expensive to buy the same items in Texas versus the Bay Area. So the Bay Area was $61.75 and Austin was $47.80. So groceries, that's one for Texas. Cheaper to buy groceries in Texas. So if you're a California family spending $800 a month in groceries, that's about $9,600 a year. You could expect your grocery bill to go down by living in Austin, Texas, and you could see a savings of about $2,160 a year living in Texas if you're a family of four. So what about buying a home? Housing is a huge part of what's so expensive here in the Bay Area. So I want to compare a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, about 2,000 square feet on approximately 8,000 square foot lot. In Pleasanton, California, that home would cost you about $1.3 million. In Austin, Texas, however, that same home would cost about $659,000. So clearly the winner here is Austin, Texas, with a home costing $641,000 less. So let's move on to property taxes. In Pleasanton, property taxes on that house would be over $9,000 a year. However, in Austin, Texas, property taxes are really high. So for that house that costs $659,000, you'd expect to pay over $14,000 a year on property taxes in Austin, Texas. So property taxes are something that will cost you a lot more in Texas. What you saved in groceries, you will pay for in property taxes a few times over. So the winner on property taxes, by percentage, of course, is the Bay Area. You would save over $5,000 in the Bay Area on property taxes, even on a house that costs more than twice as much. So what about homeowners insurance? I ran quotes on a website called lemonade.com that can give you an instant quote for insurance. So the home insurance quote for that Pleasanton home was $98 a month versus the same insurance for that home in Austin, Texas was $108 $180 a month. So homeowners insurance will cost you a lot more living in Texas, almost twice as much as in California. So the winner on homeowners insurance is California. So the next thing I took a look at was state income tax. Now, Texas has no state income tax. So based on $125,000 a year income, living in Texas, you'd have a take-home pay of about $101,000. Now, this is according to smartasset.com's income tax calculator, because even though you don't have state income tax in Texas, you still have federal income tax, like we all do. Now, comparing that to a take-home pay in California, where we do have income tax, you'd have a take-home pay of $96,842. So the winner here is Texas, where you would take home an extra $4,972 a year. So the next thing I wanted to compare was medical insurance. In California, our top premium plan for Kaiser runs about $1,366. Now, this is for a family of 4. And for Anthem Blue Cross, it's about $24.91 a month. In Austin, Texas, the most popular plan was $885 a month. So the winner here is Austin with a savings of $481 a month. Now, the next thing I compared was gas prices. So in California, we have high cost of gas, which is $4.39 a gallon as of this video. In California, gas would cost you about $4,115 a year. And in Austin, Texas, gas would cost you $2,296 a year. Gas in California does fluctuate. And as of this recording, it's really at a high point. But with these current costs, this is a difference of $1,800 a year. The winner here is Austin, Texas, saving you $1,800 a year in gas. Now, what about registering and titling your car? It was harder to compare the costs for car registrations. I know from personal registration experience for my vehicle, which is a 2021 vehicle, I think it was about $600, $700 for the year. And from what I could find online, it seems that that same car would cost me under $100 to register in Austin, Texas. So winner for car registration goes to Austin, Texas, with a savings of at least $500 a year. The next thing on my list, sales tax. How does sales tax compare between Pleasanton, California and Austin, Texas? I don't think it would be a surprise to anyone to know that the Bay Area has a higher sales tax. However, I was surprised to learn that it wasn't as big of a difference between them as I expected. Sales tax in Pleasanton is currently 9.25%, while Austin really isn't that far behind at 8.25%. But still, the win goes to Austin for a 1% difference. Now, what if you don't own a home, and what if you're looking to rent? The average cost to rent a home in Pleasanton, California for an average size apartment of about 900 square feet is $2,617 a month, compared to the average rent of a similar sized apartment in Austin, which is at $1,619 a month. So if you're planning to rent a home and you're living in Austin, Texas, it would save you about $12,000 a year. So on renting a home, the winner goes to Austin. Okay, so overall, it seems that you will save some money living in Austin, Texas versus the Bay Area. However, what about the median income? In this video, I assumed that you'd be making the same amount of money whether you lived in the Bay Area or you lived in Austin, Texas. And I based these numbers on making $125,000 a year. But is that realistic in Austin, Texas? So it seems great that you could save about $2,200 a month by living in Austin, Texas. But in this review, income was assumed to be equal in both locations. Now, it may be equal in both places for some people, but not everyone will be that lucky. So let's take median income into consideration and reevaluate. According to the United States Census Bureau, the median household income in 2019 for Pleasanton, California was $156,400 versus just $71,576 for Austin, Texas. That's a whopping difference of $84,824. So let's think about this. If you're a median income wage earner, does it make sense to save $27,348 a year living in Austin, Texas, if you're earning $84,824 a year less? I'm really curious what you think. Leave me a comment below. And if you're thinking about moving somewhere other than Austin, Texas, let me know what city you're considering, and I'll do a comparison for you on that city as well. I'm Maria Dior. I'm a real estate agent in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'll see you in the next video.